The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access for Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Welcome to Angels Talk, Soul Relationships. Here's your host, Sandra Lynch.
Hi, me.
Hi, you. And guess what? I'm coming into the picture.
Hi, you.
And guess what? I had no control of this, but it started recording. I had no control. It started recording.
When did it start recording?
Just now.
Just now. Okay, we're on.
I was testing this. Something magical happened.
There you go.
There you go. It's a win-win situation, right?
Yeah.
For everybody. It's a beautiful day. All the kids are out playing. And we're going to talk a little bit today in our soul relationship, Seqkat. So it's time to open the show. Are you ready? Or would you like to do a centering and grounding spot?
Yeah, a little meditation.
A little meditation?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Would you like to lead us?
Lead us into the meditation.
Or would you like to, how would you like to do that?
Just a little silent.
Okay, I will ask you though, whatever you speak from here.
I'm going to surrender to my higher self. Yeah.
Surrender to your higher self.
My higher self.
That's good.
That's
Project.
That's why I want the meditation.
Okay.
I'm surrendering to my higher self. Higher self.
I
I always do this. This is how I teach.
Okay.
I do everything by surrendering to my higher self. I don't do it.
Okay, well that's a new word for some people out there.
Yeah.
I call them different, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, would you like to direct us?
Direct us.
Lead us? Guide us?
Lead us, guide us. I was going to do centering.
Okay. I'm going deep, Seqkat. I'm going deep and deep and deep. I'm like down to my soul.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're ready? Well, I'm going to go ahead and open the show then. How's that? That's our audience out there waiting for you. They've been waiting a long time for you. Here we go. Hello. Thank you all again for taking your time to stop, look, and listen in our divine appointment here today. I'm Sandra, and I'm here with the one, the only Winn one. Seqkat Winn.
Okay.
That's spelled W-I-N-N, right?
Yes, but we just remember the win.
Oh, you're not worried
Yeah,
about
if I
that?
can restart that part. I'm divorcing the win, dude.
Oh.
Seqkat. That's all that's important.
Well, get that, everybody. Seqkat.
Yes. You want to cut that part? Goodbye.
Well, thank you for sharing a part of your world in this episode here. It's all important, I'm sure, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, first of all, I got to tell you, and I'd like to tell everyone out there, I am extremely excited about this episode today. One major reason, and that is for the well-being of our teenagers out there. This one I want to dedicate, and I would hope that I could lift what you're doing, and because I see you in a place for helping our teenagers become bright, brilliant, healthy, beautiful adults.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm putting that out there, and anyone right off the cuff right now, if you got it, you get your pen and paper down because you're going to want her wherever you are in public service.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's share a little bit about what happened that you're letting go of the Winn. What happened?
It's a long story. It just basically isn't in alignment with me anymore. That one led to severe abandonment issues, along with my own childhood as well. And I had to recover and heal from the severe abandonment issues. And kind of became a quiet person, wasn't who I was during this time. Suicidal, apathetic, terribly apathetic. And so I had a long ways to go. And so, I'm Seqkat.
How long of a process was that?
They started in 2009 and they didn't completely come to recovery to about the beginning of 2015. I still had some social anxiety in the beginning of 2015 that I finally conquered.
Okay, now you look like you're 20.
22!
You do. You look young.
I'm claiming I'm 22. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 45.
45.
45, yes.
Well, that's when the angelic assembly world begins. That's what I know.
Well, that's interesting because I really started working with the angels more directly. Not archangels, more directly in the past couple of years. So that's really cool. So that's very tempting. Yes.
Yeah.
Very tempting.
That's exciting.
Yes, very much so.
So how old were you then, back then, when this all started? The Winn stuff. Stuff.
Stuff. Well, the abandonment issues, they started back in 2009.
Okay.
I'm not good at math, so.
I'm not
Subtract 45.
All right. Okay. Well then, how do you relate that into the teenagehood?
Well, that will go back to my childhood, actually. I grew up in an abused childhood home, and I was seen as a child and beneath people because I was a child, especially in the eyes of my stepfather. Bless him, he's crossed over now. He saw his ways before he crossed over. But I knew in the midst of growing up in that, I saw my teenage years, it was keeping me close to spirit. So I could see the gift in it, even in the midst of it, as painful as it was. So it was something, even as a young child, even as a young child, and grew into the teenage years, I was beneath the adult. I was a child. I was labeled, and I was really over abused with chores. I mean, I was
Were you?
terribly abused with chores. I had to do everything and had to do it perfect, and yeah, that caused a lot of paradigms for me that I have to still sometimes work through today, still with that. And so I grew up, my feelings not being honored and respected as a person, but I knew I was a person. I knew my feelings were real. And so I made up my mind, even as a child, I will never look at anybody beneath me. Every person is a person. Every person deserves the respect and love as a person and not to be labeled.
Yes.
And so that's how I raised my children. I see little bitty children as little people. I don't see them as children. They're people with feelings that need to be honored and respected. And I see teenagers that way too. And so teenagers get from me that I'm on their level, and they're right, I am on their level. Because I don't come from being above them or better than them because I have more life experience or I'm older or I'm their elder. I'm not better than them. They are divinity, I am divinity, I'm just divinity respecting divinity. We're just in different stages in life. And so that's how I see teenagers, and they get it, they feel it. When my son and daughter were teenagers and they bring their teenage friends over, my son and daughter would end up crashing and going to bed, and their friends would stay up to 2 a.m. in the morning talking with me because they finally had an adult. And they would tell me, I can finally talk to an adult. I can't talk to my parents because they felt belittled by their parents, or the parents weren't listening and wouldn't hear them and honor them. And so I was able to then give them some experience to guidance because they felt like they could trust me. Yeah. And so I think if any parent is out there struggling with a teenager, open up, see them as the person they are, and open up that communication by listening. Listen to them.
But I think I think those parents out there need people like you. And I think I think they need people like you in the medical settings where they really have challenges with their teenagers, with suicide and cutting and all that other stuff that goes along with just being a teenager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That comes from, they just need to be heard.
Excuse me?
They just need to be heard.
They need to be heard.
And they need to be heard, and their
They need to be
feelings
heard.
need to be respected. That's the biggest thing. See them as the person they are. Their feelings are real. They're not less than real because they're younger. And that's the thing. They need that comfort and support.
So would you say that identification is the same as unconditional love, or is it different? Is it a communicative style?
Basically, I really treat teenagers no different than I treat anybody else. It's a way I address everyone. I address everyone honestly I look at a person and try to see what I love about them, and that's what it is. And I see that, and I allow what I love about them to just fill me with joy. It does fill me with joy. Seeing something, it's like, oh, I love this about you. Most of the time when I see somebody, that's what I end up saying, because it's the first thing that just comes up, and I'm kind of finick and just rattle off what's there. And so that's what comes up. And so it's just an instant connection. So I really don't treat teenagers any different than anybody else, basically.
So, but what can they take along with them when they're not with you? Because they need so much of you.
The teenagers?
Yes.
What can they take with them? Well, what I learned for myself, because I was really well grounded until I went through abandonment issues, and then I fell and became everything I was not, and became inferior.
Okay.
And
Slow down.
Yeah.
You are so much.
I
okay.
felt inferior at the time, and before I didn't feel inferior. I was gregarious and friendly, and then I felt inferior, and like there was so much that I went through. I lost my self-empowerment, so to speak, and I lost my joy. And so basically, to get all of that back, I had to come and learn how to love myself. And that's what magic is. When you love yourself, then you don't need it out there for other people to be giving it to you. And then you're already vibrating your own love for yourself. So in the law of attraction, vibration, like attracts like, when you're already vibrating that you love yourself, that's the vibration you're in. Love is coming towards you. So then you attract more people in your outer life that can give you love. So it's a magnetic pull. And so that's the best thing that I can offer teenagers, and adults too.
Well, it was
come into that place of loving yourself.
Yes, it was the instant, constant, abundant attraction that I saw in you. That my higher self
Yes.
said, you need to talk to her now.
Yes.
I said, okay.
Yes.
I mean, the moment I opened, I really didn't know that I would be doing these shows again.
Yes, at the time we met, yes.
And so,
Yeah.
but I was flooded with
Yes.
information for the good and greater good of all.
Yes. Yes.
And that's where I see you stepping into the new society, the new
Yes.
world, the new openness that I see service.
Yes, yes, because it was from my higher self. I actually met my higher self in the midst of those abandonment issues when I was suicidal. I met her in meditation, and I teach that. I guide it. It's at my website, wizevibestech.com. It's Wizebez.
Wize. Did you know I
Yeah.
was Miss Wise one time? No?
Yeah.
Miss Wise. Okay.
Yeah. And it's
Wise.
Vibez, and it's tec.com. Wizevibestech.com. It's Transformational Entertainment and Coaching. It's there for free. There's a meditation that you can go, and it's on audio, and you can listen to it, and it guides you to meet your higher self. And when I met my higher self, the suicidal desire stopped like that. And as I've worked with other people and guided them into meditation, some of their issues that they had would just stop just like that. Because from my perspective, my higher self had to teach me what the higher self was. It is the pure divinity that has no amnesia in this earth game that we play. It is the divine aspect that is individuated into our individual selves. and it knows what we came here to do is this individual perspective. And so it has a path, it can see everything. And so when we meet our higher selves, we meet our true selves, who we really are. The ego is like an anchor in the game that allows divinity to play like it isn't the infinite, it isn't all powerful, so it can play a little bit. You know, I like to use the example, and people get it, you know, if you went to throw darts at a dartboard and you hit bullseye every time, how long would you play that game? Not very long, you get bored. So if you have this element of risk where you might miss and can progress getting closer and closer to, oh, we should hit the bullseye, and then when you hit that bullseye when you've been trying, it's like, oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
That's when it's fun and exciting, and that's what the ego is all about. And so that's another thing that my higher self had to teach me too during the abandonment issues, is to love the ego.
Oh, yes.
That's a very important one, and that is part of the practice of loving yourself, and that's how I came to love myself and coming to love my ego. Because I was getting very frustrated and angry with my ego. As I was healing, I was mentally aware when I was having irrational fear. I mean, abandonment issues are like the severest issues. And I'd talk to somebody, and then 2 minutes later I'm thinking they're leaving me. And I mean, I knew it was irrational mentally because I was healing enough to know this, or spiritually I understood this. And I was getting so angry at myself because I couldn't stop the feeling, and the feeling was coming from the ego. And I was so angry at myself, and my higher self finally gave me a picture. She came in and showed me, she says, well, look at this little child. This little child is you, and remember where this little child came from, the abuse you grew up in, what you've suffered as an adult with abandonment issues, and understand why you feel this.
But wait a minute, stop, because I'm hearing my higher self dialoguing here, where communication styles is so important, okay? Communication and listening. For me, my journey is always to co-create or understand how I can interact with my higher self. And I understand as well that my higher self is learning how to interact with me. So wouldn't this be like a 10-step program that you would have?
I teach this, I have a program actually.
Oh, you
Yes.
do?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Tell
have-
us about it.
Yes. I have a program, I did it with my son. It's called survivingandthriving.com.
Surviving into thriving.com.
And it's
How-
free. It's absolutely free.
How young is he now?
He's 23.
Oh,
Yes.
23, the next generation
Yes,
leader?
23.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to meet him. And his name is
Show.
Show.
Yes.
Show Winn?
Yes, Show Winn. S-H-O-U. Yes.
S-H-O. Show.
Yes, Show.
I'm inviting you right now to invite Show to come on and do a show with me. I want to meet him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yes, that's completely fine. That's completely fine.
So you were telling everybody about that relationship. Let's hear it.
Yes, coming to love my ego self. When my higher self showed me to understand where my ego was coming from, she showed me if anybody should understand why my ego has these fears, it should be me, because I've been there. I've been through every experience my ego went through. All the pain and fear it's gone through. And when that happened and I saw it as a child, my higher self encouraged me to hug that child. And so as I hugged that child with understanding, I was hugging me with understanding. And as I validated that child's feelings of all the abuse that it had gone through and all the pain that it had gone through, I was validating me, who I was, who I am. And so in that practice of validating and understanding me, I was giving myself love instead of hating me for feeling this bad feeling. And that's where we get frustrated with our ego and angry at our ego, you know, and we want to shun it, but it needs love. And as soon as it was loved and comforted from me, the fear went away. The fear stopped.
The eagerness to go on steps in.
Yes, exactly.
I need to drink to that.
Yes.
Join me.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
This is the practice of loving yourself. And so I continued on in my healing journey. I did have to get coaching, and I was in the being coached in that time. But this was going on outside of the coaching time. My higher self came in and really helped me, and my son's show also played a huge role in continuing my continuing in my path of healing, even after the coaching stopped. And so we together have become coaches. We coached each other because he had Crohn's disease. And he healed that in our program. We'll show you how. So that's another
I'll remember
thing.
that.
Yes.
I'll remember that.
Yes. So that was a part of it right there. That was the beginning of the stages of coming to do that. So then I learned to continue to practice that. So I've learned with time, with my higher self, if you get an inspiration that feels joyful, that's something you should follow because that's coming from your higher self. It's a desire, you like it, you're drawn to it. This is coming from the divinity within you that has an individual aspect, what it wants to experience through your perspective. And so that's why it's joyful to you, because you're pulled to it. We gravitate toward joy. So that's why we're pulled to it. And but the ego will want to go, but, I feel this fear, I feel this pain, I don't want to do this. And that's basically, you get this, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. And then the next day it's like, ooh, but if I do this bad thing could happen, that bad thing. And that's the ego because it's playing the survival game. And it's what it was created to do.
And this is every day.
Every day.
Every
Yes,
day.
Every day,
Even today.
Yes, it happens right now. If I get an inspiration that feels good, or then if I go into fear, I stop and I picture the little one, I call her my little one, and I ask her, why do you fear this? And 9 times out of 10, she'll show me something in the past that's similar to it, that went wrong, that hurt us, that got us in pain, and she's like, I don't want to do anything similar to it ever again, because I could get hurt. And so what I have to do is validate her feelings. Okay, right? You're exactly right. That did hurt us. We got hurt. Validate her feelings, and then I comfort her through it. And then after that, then she's more open to it. And the reason why she's more open to it is because the ego focuses on one thing, and that's the data. And that's what it's experienced, or what it's heard other people's experience. And that's the only thing it trusts. The only thing. And that's what I call like the unhealed ego, But if you can work with your ego and develop this relationship, what happens is the ego learns to trust you. And then when your higher self gives you information and you validate your ego's feelings and comfort it, and then you say, okay, I understand what you fear, this thing happening because it's similar to what we did before, but that's not our intention this time, and our higher self is guiding us, and we're going to surrender to our higher self. That's a big part of it too, and that's a little troublesome for the ego.
So
that's some work.
I'm counting 5 steps here at least.
yeah, that's part of it. You got to surrender to that higher self and trust it, and that's going to take some practice. First time I surrendered to my higher self, it was scary. I was very, very scared to do it. But once I surrendered to my higher self, I was comforted within the whole spiritual realm. I could see the angels, and even my ego felt good. It was amazing. My ego actually came back and said, "It's going to be okay." It was amazing. So then I've learned with practice, I can trust my higher self, the guidance, and so you just have to keep working with it. And so it's a balance. I have a balanced relationship now with my higher self and my ego self.
What a marriage, huh?
Yes, it's a great marriage. It really is. It's a great marriage.
Ah, that's a lot. You are a lot.
And that really is only the tip of the iceberg. Like that program goes into so much more. It goes into more detail explaining why we're here on Earth, how we're playing the game, how the metaphysics of the world. There's scientific proof of how things work and how we create things. Basically, our surviving and thriving, we're turning you from the life of just surviving and getting by to thriving and living into joy. That's where we want to bring you, because that's what was going on with me and my son. We were just surviving and just getting by. And said he healed his Crohn's disease. That's a very powerful story right there on its own. I mean, he struggled with it for 6 years, and I had an issue in my divorce. My ex took half my income out, and I freaked out. I'm like, what am I going to do? I was still in the process of building the coaching business, so I wasn't making money yet. And I discovered something with that.
What?
My ego had a hidden fear from me. I get these little subconscious fears, and I didn't realize it. And the hidden fear came up with that. And that hidden fear was, if I fail getting this business going, my ex could take all the money away. Then what? So I was blocking law of attraction. I'm focused on, I can fail and my ex will take all the money away. Which is exactly what happened. Because I was focused on that.
I want to ask our audience
Yes.
right now, how many of you out there get her? How many of you out there have these conversations going on in your dialogue? How many of you out there want more of her? Want to relate
Yeah.
with this soul relationship
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was able to turn it around once I saw that fear. First for 2 days, I'm literally just shaking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so scared.
Oh, yes.
And then I'm like, Seqkat, you're a coach, you're a spiritualist, you know what to do. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna get on the ball game and do it. So that's what I did. I jumped on my ball game, this is what my program is, and did it. And I did it straight for 30 days. And so my life really turned around then. Because I had that hidden fear, that's what I was staying focused on, that's what I created, that's what I manifested. So then when I got on my ball game and started focusing on that which I desired, I wanted my business to start flourishing, and I started putting that into my practice, and the program teaches all of that.
But for those of you who have just joined in, I'm here with the one and only Seqkat, and she's going to tell us what we quickly covered, and we're going to say bye-bye, see you on the next episode.
Yeah, basically what we were covering in the last little part especially is the practice of loving yourself, coming to meet your higher self, and working with your ego self with love and understanding validation. And that's what loving yourself is. And then that's when you get in that good vibration of loving yourself, then you can start manifesting your desires, which is the program which my son and I did. And I kind of left you hanging there about how my income was lost, and my son is suffering with Crohn's disease, and we have a spectacular story of how we really flipped that around. It is a miracle with my son's physical health.
Yes.
Because, I mean, he went,
Yes.
I'll leave you with this. He went from 94 pounds to 120 pounds in 30 days after suffering from Crohn's disease for 6 years.
After suffering with Crohn's disease for 6 years. Oh,
Yes.
that's the next show.
Yes, and that's the next show. I'll share with you that story.
Okay. Well, it is time to go. So I'm
Yes.
going to say bye-bye, and will you
Yes.
help me?
Yes, sure.
It goes like this. Thank you all again for taking your time to stop, look, and listen in our divine appointment here today. I'm Sandra Lynch, and I'm here with the one, the only one, Seqkat.
Yes.
And we're both here to say divine love and holy kisses.
Thank you. I love you. Love you too.